Welcome to Adventures Beyond the Horizon. This is where we delve into the essence of overlanding, the art of navigating uncharted paths, and the stories forged on the roads less traveled.
I'm John, and joining me is Anthony. Together, we will explore the profound experiences of our journeys, the intricacies of vehicle modifications, and the challenges and triumphs of off-road adventures.
Each episode, we'll share insights of our recent trips, and as well as uncover the deeper connections and transformative moments found in the world of overlanding. Subscribe to stay with us on this journey.
All right, welcome back, adventurers. Today, it's going to be a little different than what we're used to so far. Today, we're going to go into the psychology of overlanding. So this is a topic that we did some research on, and we're not experts on this. We just read a couple articles online, and we just thought it would make up a nice little episode here. So
this is going to be very interesting to see how this goes, because it's just going to be interesting. We'll just leave it at that.
So part of the psychology of overlanding, I want to say, is when we go out there, we feel free, we're escaping from the everyday, mundane routine of going to work, picking up our 9-to-5 jobs, doing whatever we do on the daily. And I think there's a deep-rooted desire for escape that many of us seek for these routine pressures of daily life. Mm-hmm. And when you're out there, do you just feel better?
I feel like I don't have to worry about my outside issues, because when I'm out there, I don't really have a choice but to focus on what's happening where I'm at rather than what's happening back at home. Mm-hmm. So it kind of relieves some stress from that, because I'm always thinking about what's happening back at home.
Yep. So you're just disconnected and kind of sort of off the grid sometimes. Other times you're not really off the grid. The one camp spot we were at in Colorado, the last night, I should say. Mm-hmm. And we had self-service, but we weren't really using it. We weren't really paying attention to the outside world. We were all living in the moment. And it was a great way for us to disconnect. And even though it was a long, hard journey, I felt definitely refreshed and recharged afterwards.
It's a different kind of challenge rather than your regular life challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And just in general, overall, a sense of freedom from everything, just stresses of normal life.
Freedom from the daily grind.
Mm-hmm. Got to get that bread.
Always and forever. Even to continue to do this hobby, we always have to get that bread.
Oh yeah, especially this one. God, it's so expensive. Just dipping my toes in, and it's there's so much that you could buy, don't need to buy, but it helps.
There's so many things you want to buy too, and it just adds up constantly. Even the tires, mm-hmm. You're already spending $1,200 on just tires, and then all the other extra goodies like the bumpers and whatnot, all the other modifications, and then not even including camping gear at that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it gets expensive very quickly.
Yeah. So another aspect of this is the adventure and challenging aspect, right? We mentioned it a little bit ago about how it's its own thing, and you're doing a lot, and it's not necessarily easy work. It could be, and in most cases, kind of, what's the term? Exhausting. I don't know why I blanked on that. That was kind of funny. And it gives us the challenge for thrill seeking. Do you see what I'm saying?
The sense of adventure, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an adrenaline rush. Rather than going fast, you're going slow, but the adrenaline rush is still there for a longer period of time, because I saw something where they were saying the adrenaline rush from going fast in a car is a short-term rush, but whenever you're rock crawling or something like that, it stays for longer because you're doing the task for longer.
Hmm.
So I think it feels better, honestly.
Yeah, there's also a lot more challenges than just rock crawling, right? I know that
Yeah.
was one aspect of a lot of it, but it doesn't have to be like just in general mud and ruts and sand. There's all different other types of rough terrains, different weather conditions that we're put into. There's other logistical problems that like I think human beings just want to like have to do so that way their mind is occupied or something along those lines.
It may not be even be have to do. It's more of like, so like for example, if you're something breaks on your truck and you have to repair it on the trail, you're like worried, am I going to be able to get out of here? Am I going to be able to fix this? That's also a form of like adrenaline rush for
Hmm.
that. Like, am I going to survive? Am I going to die?
Yeah, again, that's like problem solving and being able to face and overcome super tough obstacles. It helps boost our confidence and self efficacy.
Shoot, that fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Good job on your higher vocabulary, John. No, that was a legit compliment.
So while we're out there, like in these different like rough terrains, weather conditions, there's also like a deeper meaning behind all of that, like being connected with nature. I love outdoors. I just maybe not doing outdoorsy stuff, just being outside. In high school, you know how I would always go to the trails at the where I
Harbison.
was. No, not even the Harbison trails, just the ones in my like the neighborhood that I lived in over by
Oh,
the pool. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I took you back there a couple of times. I would go back there on the daily, and actually getting ready to join the Navy, I would. It was about like a mile from my house. And yeah, about a mile from no, it was about a half a mile. No, sorry, not a half a mile and a half. And I would run there and then run through the woods and just enjoy nature. I would do that while getting ready to go to boot camp for the Navy, and that's how I trained.
So I get that. That's yeah, being in nature is very therapeutic even for me because I whenever like we said earlier, when life gets kind of tough, that's kind of how I deal with my stress is kind of get out of it for a little bit, get my mind on something else, and nature was that one place where I could go and just not think about what was happening in my life, and I that's just kind of how helped me in a lot of my issues lately. At least deal with them, not solve them, but deal with them. But yeah, no, I agree.
And it's just like some believe that nature is very therapeutic, and just being out there, seeing the beautiful environment, being in these remote places, I to me is super therapeutic.
Now, for the adrenaline rush part, have you ever been in a situation where you're like, you've had that adrenaline rush while camping or overlanding or anything like that?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's part of being like mindful and present because you're more in the time, like just in the moment, and you're more aware of your surroundings, especially when you're sleeping. This is where I'm getting at here with it is being asleep. This is the like where I've been like, oh, and I just wake up to the randomest noise and then
On
hear
edge.
random sniffing. Yeah, on edge, random sniffing. Turns out it's either a raccoon or a possum or just some night creature animal.
Or even just
Uh,
Henry sniffing you in
yeah,
your
Henry.
face.
Yeah, Henry. That was a big one. But there are sometimes where we didn't take him, and then we still hear these weird noises, and it scares you. And it's like, oh, am I? Is this it? Is this it? But even with all of that, it's super nice being out there, and it's never it. It's just being out there, getting out there, used to these sounds. The longer you are out there, the more you get used to the sounds.
Yeah, and even at night when you're camping, it's just like the darkness kind of messes with your brain too, which keeps you on edge as well. It's like you see a shadow moving, like, is that a bear or is that an animal or is that thing about to come and attack me?
Mm-hmm.
And that, luckily, that's another reason why I bought a rooftop tent, because I'm off the ground and nothing can really get to me unless they climb up my truck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it keeps you on edge a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I sometimes it's a good thing that keeps you on edge because you're always alert if something does happen, but it can also make things uncomfortable for you, especially if you can't fall asleep because there's constantly some noise going on around you.
Yep. It's different. Correction. It's definitely different than being in the city and just having. It's a completely different mentality out there.
Yeah,
And then
but
there's. Oh, go ahead.
it's enjoyable. I
It's
still like it
super
either way.
enjoyable. Oh yeah. And then there's also this aspect of it, like the community and connections and the sharing experiences with others and just the whole community behind it of like Overland Expo, the Ozark Trails. Everybody likes to go to do those ones. I know there's also a couple other paths around here that uh, I've seen it a couple places, heard about it. There's like, hey, we're gonna go this weekend, and like,
Hmm.
who wants to go and all that. There's a off-road park that I've gone to where people just roll in with either their Tacoma buddies or something, just spend the night there. And I've done that in the Maverick. That was interesting. I
Yeah.
was there with my roommate who has a Jeep Wrangler, and we did easy trails enough for me that we could see where we would want to camp. And then once we found that spot, I parked my truck, and then we just went wherever the Jeep could take us. And boy, oh boy, it was not rock crawling, but the road was definitely,
Off camber.
yeah, it was super
I have a question for
unstable and
you.
fun. Hmm.
Have you, whenever you go out there, have you ever met like somebody new that has given you like very valuable information? Say you learned something new from them related to like a certain area, or like tips they would give you about how to drive your truck, or just how to do something in general, just from a random person that you met while exploring, essentially.
I have not, because nearly every place I've gone, except for this one, I haven't really run into anybody else.
Hmm.
It's just been either me, myself, and I, or my wife and I, or other, and then also the Ho River. But like we kind of like separated because we're messing with their camp area, but not quite.
Yeah.
It was a weird situation.
Well, whenever I actually this past time, whenever I went accidental rock crawling, um, I went to this town called Central City. It's like a casino town up in the mountains. And I was talking to this waitress, and she told me a little bit about the area and how if you go to the graveyards, you'll see like these really old graves. And then she told me the story about how some outlaw was involved in the town, and then his girlfriend cheated on him, and then he had got into a gun battle, and then one guy, I think, either shot him down or he shot another guy down, and then his girlfriend or mistress killed herself, and they're in the graveyard. It's just like these little stories that you would never hear unless you talk to a local, because they know it. They know the area the best, and
Mm-hmm.
even letting you know like where some secret trails are that aren't in like on the maps or anything. It's just connecting with people and knowing them. So it's a cool thing. And even like with the community, just talking to fellow off-roaders like my friend Chris, he's taught me a lot about modification and just what it means to off-road, giving me tips on how to do certain things, how to place my wheels, when to use certain tools, when to use certain recovery gear. It's the people you meet will give you some very useful information, whether it's about the area or if it's about techniques you can use while you're off roading. And that's where the sense of community comes from, community and connection. And even with Overland Expo, they teach you a lot of stuff there too. And it it's just cool to meet a bunch of people like that. And I'm very appreciative of Chris and his kind of guidance.
Yeah, no, I really don't have anything to add for stories that people have shared. I've kind of tended, like I was saying earlier, like just kind of kept to myself. But the community is there, and everybody is great. Everybody that I have met that does either camping or overlanding or something, everybody loves it.
Well, as you explore, you'll be coming across different people, so you'll talk to some people eventually. It's just a matter of when it happens, you know.
Hmm.
And there are some really cool people out there.
And like speaking of being like just out there either by myself or whatnot, like you're being completely self-reliant while you're out there too, and like you are just it's again a big change from being home where everything is right there where you need to go out like, oh hey, I forgot this one item, and you can run to the store and go grab it and come right back. Out there you just got to make do.
Mm-hmm. Either
Like you're completely independent.
you just gotta jerry rig something if something doesn't work, or if you forgot something, try to find another way to do what you're trying to do.
Hmm.
As the southern people would say, rednecking it.
Yeah.
Gotta make it work.
Like everything, yeah, everything has to be on your vehicle. The navigation, the resources, the like every kind of resource that you think you might need, medical attention for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just being out there and surviving is great, and it's like a personal achievement, if you will. Feeling again the accomplishment.
Oh yeah, no. Every time I go out, and well, I can't say this because every time I've gone out, at least camping wise, I've been with people, except for this upcoming time where I'm gonna go camping by myself for the first time, and it just I'm going to learn. I think this will also teach me what I need to work on, especially being as self-reliant as we talk about, and just being prepared and making sure I have everything I need, which almost every single time I've gone out, I've forgotten something. One time,
Cooking more than just grilled cheese.
well, I forgot a fuel tank for my stove, so I couldn't even cook grilled cheese. I had to survive on some Cliff bars and some Nutri-Grain bars, which was not the best, but I had to do it, and that's what I did.
And that's where the fire comes in, right? It's a great thing that you can have because you're going to have water. And I want to always bring dehy packs with me, so
Yeah.
that way if you run into something like that, you'll have a backup plan for food, and you'll never go out there and starve to death.
Yeah, but if you don't have the right cooking ware to cook on a fire, you're just going to end up destroying the cooking ware. That's the other part. That's why I ate a bunch of Cliff bars and Nutri-Grain bars instead.
Cast iron, baby.
Yeah, well, good for you with your cast iron cookware. I'd have cheap grocery store pans.
Hey, those work too. Do you remember the one I brought and I cooked the potatoes in? Remember that? And cooked it right there on the fire?
Was that a store-bought pot?
Yeah, it was a store-bought pot. Granted, it was charred and blackened on the bottom. Store-bought, not cast iron.
Store-bought with the cheap metals and plastics and all that other stuff.
As long as your fire's not too hot and you're not like putting it directly on the coals, you'll be fine. That's why I kind of had mine sitting on the logs where the heat was going, but not where all the heat was concentrated.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I won't have to run into that issue again, so I should be more prepared. That's why making a list and checking everything off before you leave is very useful to keep organized, or to stay organized.
Yeah, so you're making a list and you're checking it twice.
Gonna find
sure
out
you're-
if you're gonna die. That was terrible, I'm sorry.
That was awful. Oh boy, oh.
I mean, it's true, though.
Yeah, just
Seafood.
I don't know how to bring this back to the topic, but yeah, just getting out there, feeling accomplished, will definitely boosts self-esteem and give you the very strong sense of accomplishment. Like just being out there, like I just in many aspects of it, like the cooking. Like when I was out there cooking for you guys, like I don't cook often, and the food that I was making, it was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good.
I can attest.
You guys are like, oh my God, you got to cook more. I'm like, this is like my first time ever cooking, buddy. You're like, can good.
Yeah. You know what we should do? We should come up with certain recipes for cooking, and then we should try to make them out there. And then once we do our big trips, we'll be able to actually, like, we'll have experience cooking some of these things, and it's going to be great. I've gotten grilled
better.
cheese down now.
Oh yeah, and you didn't before. What do? Add another half a stick of butter?
Actually, I think so. Because I cooked it one time before I cooked it for y'all, and I put, I think, more butter. But either way, it was still good. It was just very unhealthy. And then we immediately had a bunch of meat and grease the next morning.
Oh, that's totally fine. It was really good.
We survived. We didn't have a heart attack, so that's an accomplishment by itself. Another achievement I think is good is not getting lost. You know?
Yeah.
That's a big one, because if you get lost, you're kind of out of luck is a nice way to say it.
SOL for the PGs, but
yeah.
I don't know how PG we're going to have to keep it, because it seems like most of our audience is definitely over the age of 18. So like being out there, feeling achieve, and just looking back in general and looking at your failures, you can like reflect and grow from it, you know, just looking back and seeing everything that you could have done differently.
It's a learning process. I can say I'm a self-reliant adult now. Yay.
You mean you could have said that a while ago, but now it's like,
nah.
For us youngins, for those who are older than us, can look at it and be like, yeah, they're doing it. Big thumbs up.
Good job, kids. You're doing something right in your life. At least one thing.
Yeah, so like reflection and growth for yourself as well. Just like going out there, the change of pace, the solidarity, I guess, in just overlanding, camping is a way to like, I guess, reflect inwards for your personal growth. That's where this bullet point was going.
We took a S path all the way up to that point, but it also like makes you see the world differently, especially if you're out there for a long time, because you're like, in our modern society, we always look at it as we consume everything like resources, and just some people just don't care about how much we use and how much we put back. So, for example, like trees have a lot of good things about them. That sounded very unintelligent, but I mean, they produce oxygen, they take carbon dioxide out of the air, produce oxygen, make the earth better to live in. And some people, they're cutting them down. And I mean, yeah, for manufacturing purposes, and it has many uses, but there's a certain point where we overuse our resource and we are not putting back what we're taking away fast enough. And there's programs out there that are helping with that, but it's a matter of how well we're doing it. And it's just, I mean, trees are just one example. There's so many more examples, but that's a whole nother thing that I don't know if we should go down, but perspective is...
You're definitely delving a lot deeper into this than I thought you were going to.
Yeah, if you want to get technical about it, no, I'm not going to get all...
Yeah, no, Mr. Tree Hugger over here.
No, shut up.
I love trees myself, and I agree with what he's saying. However, he just likes to talk about it a lot more.
I'm more sentimental about it.
Yeah. Like, all of us campers know to clean up after ourselves. But while we were out there, he's the guy looking like, hey, did you make sure? Did you make sure? Did you make sure?
Well, the only reason I'm like that is because a lot of trails are getting shut down because people are just littering a whole bunch, and it's taking trails away from us. And that's why I'm like that. And I want to keep them open. And that's a big thing. Is leave no trace. That's the whole point of leave no trace, is to pick up all your crap and before you leave. And some people just don't do that.
Just don't do it. Those are the bad people.
Those are the losers.
Yeah, sometimes they just get left there by accident, like Nick's water bottle. I don't think he meant to do that.
That thing was a full water bottle.
Yeah, that seemed like he definitely was saving that for something, and he just dropped it. It fell out of the truck or something.
Or maybe Nick is living in those woods and someone left it for him.
Unlikely. There was a lot. It was basically covered in grass, and who spotted that? I can't. I don't remember who spotted
I think it was
but like
Trevor.
Yeah.
Maybe Nick is the Sasquatch.
Yeah, out there in the Colorado woods.
Hey, there's different breeds of Sasquatch. You got your Washington Sasquatch, and we got a Colorado Sasquatch.
Bigfoot.
Is
Bigfoot real? Yay or nay? Vote now.
We should make a poll out of that at some point.
Oh, it's going in this one, buddy.
Please vote in our poll. It's going to be interesting to see how many people actually believe in Bigfoot here.
I believe that there may or may not have been a being like Bigfoot at one point. But is he real now?
I feel like that it's possible, but I think by this point, with all the technology we have, I feel like we would have found something more evident than the famous picture that they supposedly took of him, of a blurry picture.
Yeah, also, well, there's obviously more pictures of it now. However, there's also the conspiracy theory that says the government is hiding it from us all.
Ooh, just like aliens.
Yeah. That one I 100% believe. Whether aliens do exist, whether we've contacted them or they've contacted us, I don't know. It doesn't matter. They exist. In a world of infinity with infinite possibilities, there's no way that other intelligent creatures exist. Like, let's take a look at dolphins, for example. They're intelligent creatures, but they come from Earth, so can't really say much.
I don't know. According to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, those were aliens that came down and were... Oh, no. What did they do?
Those were mice.
No. Those were dolphins. They was dolphins. The whole opening scene is a Broadway song about dolphins leaving Earth and going to a different planet.
Okay, so they're not aliens to us, but they're from, again, they were still from here. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that. I don't know. We've gotten so far off topic.
Hey, that's what makes a good podcast. You just talk about random crap and then attempt to try to get back to the topic.
Yeah, there's no way we can
we go from
reflect on that.
We go from talking about
there we go. We can reflect and look back and be like,
we talked about Sasquatch, then dolphins.
And aliens.
Alien, Sasquatch, dolphin.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to the point of this podcast, you might hear Henry's tippy taps, and I won't be able to cut those out because I'm talking over it.
You're fine.
Come here, Henry.
We got a new follower.
Come here.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't already, go and follow our Instagram. It's where we post all of the pictures we have of some of the stories we tell.
Mm-hmm. So, back to what this podcast topic is. It's psychology of overlanding again. So, last really big bullet point here that we have is, escapism and reality. Being able to balance the act of overlanding and just maintaining your modern life. While overlanding provides an escape, it also requires a practical sense of engagement with reality. It balances between escapism and real-world challenges, and I can't really think of any good examples of this.
I mean, it's the balance between reality and escapism. You're escaping your reality because you're going out in the woods to not worry about your reality. But there has to be a balance.
But you are
to where you
living
still have
in
to
it.
know that it's happening back at home, but you're not exactly dealing with it, or you don't have the power to deal with it while you're out in the woods. So there's a balance between knowing it's going on and not having to deal with it at the time. It's just
Well, so I guess I can kind of relate to this, but not necessarily in the overlanding sense. In the submarine world, I suppose, like having to deal with work and not being home, and it is fulfilling in the sense that I'm not home, not having to deal with everything that is home life, but I'm dealing with a whole bunch of other more stressful things. Like, more importantly, am I going to perish tonight when I go to sleep because some some guy on the helm doesn't know how to drive and sink us out, and we all die in the middle of my sleep? And it's just other little random nuances that are super stressful that comes with submarining,
I mean,
if you will.
that's the same with what I said earlier about worrying about animals and bears, and even out here in Colorado, you have mountain lions too. So that's
Hmm.
uh, another thing. But it's also the fact of you're so isolated out there, and that can also get to you. And sometimes, if everything goes wrong and you get stuck out there, I mean, trying to find your way back, that's a tough one by itself. So I'm saying, like, if you break down, then your adrenaline is just going crazy because you don't know if you're going to be able to make it back or not. Like, you could be hundreds of miles away from any form of civilization. Like on the Pony Express Trail, it's 500 miles straight desert. There may be like a gas station in the next 100 miles, but you're to a quarter of a tank. That can really mess with your brain. And that's probably going to be something I'm going to be struggling with while I'm out there. It's just a matter of also being prepared for that kind of thing too. And it's just stressful, but it's a good kind of stress. It's
It's a relieving kind of stress, once you're done and you've got it done. It's like, okay, cool, I'm good. I've got it.
I'd
It's
rather
like
I'd
it,
rather have that kind of stress than stressing something at work.
yeah, like not knowing if you're gonna be able to do something, where that is a whole different kind of stress. And that's the whole point of all of this. What we've been talking about is relieving stress. Like all of this, it might have put other stresses on you, but it relieves more stress than it puts on.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
a
think
different kind of stress.
so. Speaking of the Pony Express trails, there are other adventures that we have planned. I know I have a couple planned I want to try to do at the end of this month. Me and my buddy that has the Renegade Zane, he should be coming on my next episode. So not that episode
Not the next one, but the next one after that.
yeah, the follow on. We'll have him come on, and in that one, we'll talk about some stuff, and we're gonna go on the Olympic backcountry discovery route. I know Anthony here has told me he wanted to do that with me.
I saw a
And
video on that, and I wanted to do it so bad, but unfortunately, I don't live in Washington State.
Yep, and I think that's what we're gonna do, and we should be able to make it. And if not, then we'll just have to turn around.
How long do you think that's going to take you?
He said between 4 and 5 days. We didn't want to do like the whole thing, but like take a long week or something, or long weekend, and just knock it out.
I wish I could do a trip
Have fun.
that took 4 or 5 days without any consequences to my work schedule.
Yep.
But unfortunately, we have our lives outside of overlanding that we have to worry about, and
Yep.
that's my current limiting factor, which hopefully one day that'll change, but who knows?
Just be a Roman man.
A Roman man? Yeah, what am I going to do for money? That's the biggest worry. Like we said, this hobby is expensive.
Yep.
Unless we get sponsors. So anybody out there that wants to sponsor us, we're here and open. Please email us. Please.
Okay, I think it's too soon to ask for sponsors.
Hey, they could be starting off listening to our podcast, seeing what we're about, and I could say it, and they'll listen to it.
Maybe. Oh well, we'll figure it out. Sorry for the doggy noises. Henry wants some pity pats.
Oh,
So I had talked about my adventure that's coming up. What about you? What do you have coming up?
So as of right now, actually this weekend, I'm going to be going to a trail. It's called Muddy Creek, and it's just essentially a weekend trip. But there's supposed to be some good spots. It's a 3 out of 10 on Onyx, and some mud pits and different things and camping sites around there. I may try to film a video or just film little clips for Instagram, but it should be interesting. This will be the first camping trip I've done in Colorado that I've camped by myself. So, like I said, this will teach me a little bit about self-reliance, and if things go bad, I kind of have to rely on myself. But it should be fun. I'm not too terribly worried, but as long as I have my supplies, I should be okay. It's like 2 hours away from me is the start of the trail, and I'm gonna try to go up there Saturday morning, get up super early and head out there. But big trips, as of right now, I don't have anything planned. My dad and I talked about doing something in the Ozarks at some point, but that's probably gonna be a little bit out in time for me, so we'll see how that goes. But
Well, I see a note here for something called Red Cone. I think you put that one.
so Red Cone, that's not really it's more of like an off-roading day trip. It's supposedly a pretty challenging course or pretty challenging trail that I'm gonna. Chris and I talked about doing. We'll see if we can hit it before winter comes or fall comes, because apparently the first snowfall actually already happened in the mountains this past weekend. So we'll see if that happens. But it goes above the tree lines, and I think it's a 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 on Onyx. But I'm gonna need bigger tires, and I want to do my leveling kit before I do that. And I'm hoping I'll have the time. I need to order my tires, and I've just been putting it off.
All right, well, I think that wraps up this episode. So I want to go ahead and thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Adventures Beyond the Horizon. We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we did. Today, we just kind of covered a general topic of psychology, and we hope you found this episode and the stories we told as inspiring as we did.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and following our podcast. It really does help us out, and we can see every time you follow, so please do it, so you'll never miss an adventure. And don't forget to leave us a review. It really does help. Give us 5 stars if you really enjoyed it. We'd love to hear your own overlanding stories, and if you have any topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please connect with us on our Instagram, or drop us an email at adventuresbeyondthehorizon16@gmail.com. We'd really love to hear from you, and we love the interaction.
We need it. We definitely need it. Next week, please stay tuned. We're going to be diving into the history, the evolution of overlanding. It's going to be an adventure you won't want to miss.
Until next time, keep exploring and pushing beyond the horizon. Safe travels and happy adventuring. See you later.